Well, today on the Waine Train, we look to secure European football for next season. Here at Plymouth Argyle, we take on Aston Villa and Liverpool in our last two games in the Premier League, and in between then, our first big cup final here at the Pilgrims, we take on Arsenal and try and lift the FA Cup. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 30 of the Waine Train here on Sean Does FM with Plymouth Argyle. I hope you're doing well, and coming up today we play our last three games of the season. Two of them are in the Premier League against Aston Villa and Liverpool, and in between that the small matter of an FA Cup final where we do take on Arsenal. So if you're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode, as well as our transfer budget for next season and also the end of season review, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on that notification bell as well. It is greatly appreciated. But I've played a couple of games off the back of yesterday's episode, which did focus in terms of the games we showed you guys on the quarters and the semis of the FA Cup. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Those games were all in the Premier League. 4 of them, the first 3, did look like the games we needed to get something out of, and thankfully we backed up that very impressive semi-final win in the FA Cup 5-1 over Manchester United with the exact same scoreline over Brentford, with the exact same team. Didn't think we'd need to change too much off the back of that emphatic win, and thankfully we did pick up the same result, even though that one was away from home. Late red card there to Brentford certainly didn't help, but thankfully came from 1-0 down to pick up a 5-1 win. Good Johnson, he picked up a double, also assisted by the Waine Train for one of those goals. So that was a good start, 3 points in the Premier League. But then some rather surprising drop points at home when we took on 19th placed at that stage Crystal Palace. They got off to a good start in this game early through Franca. Thankfully, 10 minutes later, Farias, he grabbed a goal back, then a penalty with around about half hour left, which Edouard did put away, but thankfully Nikola Iliev pegged one back with 10 minutes left in this game. So it was a scratchy performance in terms of overall stats. Hard to see how he didn't actually win this game. 9 shots on target compared to the 3 of Crystal Palace, but of course one of those was a penalty, and somehow we dropped points there at home. Maybe shouldn't have brought Tobias back in goal. He only ended up with a 6.4 in place of Mike Cooper. So that was a bit disappointing. Some drop points at home there against the team that you would have thought we would have picked up a win against, but thankfully got back on track. And our next game also at home, this one against Brighton, just 1 goal in this game, and it was scored by Damien Pizarro in the first half, playing over the Waine Train in this game because he was quite highly injury prone, but thankfully he got the job done. In terms of XG in this game, Brighton actually did have the better of things, but thankfully we bounced back from that surprise draw against Crystal Palace and pick up 3 points there. So it was 7 points from games where we were expecting to get 9 from them, and then things got a bit tougher with our last 3 games in the Premier League. The first of them, we took on Chelsea, a 3-2 defeat, but there's a lot that went on in this game. We actually played quite well in the early stages of this one at Stamford Bridge, but unfortunately the first chance that Chelsea did get on the attack, and Chilwell runs onto that one and puts it past Tobias into that bottom right corner. But then just before halftime, felt like we got a chance to get right back into this game. In the second half, Whittaker squares that one for Pizarro and puts it away. But off the back of that, Serginho Dest gets a straight red card, and then in the 7th minute of additional time in the first half, somehow Nkunku teleports there through Som and puts that away. But this is where editing Sean can put the clock in from what happened in game real time. They were so far over added time, I don't know what the referees were doing. Seriously, that is the most dodgy thing I've seen in FM for a long time. Then we go into the second half playing with a 4-2-3, took off a striker to replace Serginho Dest off the back of his red card, and unfortunately Nkunku, he grabbed another to make it 3-1 early in the second half. Unfortunately, Williams there comes out, tries to get the ball and doesn't, and Nkunku can run in behind. And that late goal in the first half only proving more frustrating because in injury time, this one actually scheduled injury time, Parola puts a ball away from a corner. It's a 3-2 defeat, but that Nkunku goal in the 52nd minute of the first half, that was a big difference maker. Kind of feel robbed there by the referees, and also obviously not helped out by that red card to Serginho Dest. But unfortunately, we do not get anything out of that game from Stamford Bridge, despite the fact we actually performed pretty well with only 10 minutes. What that means going in to today's episode, at least in terms of the Premier League. Obviously, if we win the FA Cup final, that guarantees us a spot in the Europa League next season at the very least, but currently we are in 5th on the Premier League table. Manchester United 1 point above us, but they do have 2 games in hand. So I don't think we're going to catch up to those guys, but 5th place should be enough for us to qualify for the Champions League because the coefficient England are on top of that for this season. So I think 5th will be enough for the Champions League next season. 6th place will be the Europa League, and 7th place, that should be the Conference League. To be fair, a competition like the Europa League or Conference League, probably not too bad for us here at Plymouth Argyle, but seeing as we have been inside of a Champions League qualifying spot for most of the season, hopefully we can get the job done and get a good payday to go alongside it. And also, first up in today's episode, you can see we take on Aston Villa. We're coming back for this game a little bit earlier than I said we would, because if we can just hold these guys to a draw, they can't catch us. That will be enough for us to secure some European football for next season here at Plymouth Argyle, albeit small matter of Tottenham Hotspur down in 10th being in the final of the Conference League. That could change things potentially just a little bit, but with the expanded format, I'm pretty sure that won't make a difference. The team in 7th should still make their way into the Conference League, and the team in 6th into the Europa League. The only way that would change is if the team that did win the FA Cup doesn't finish inside that top 7. That could jumble things up a little bit, but hopefully we get the job done here against Aston Villa, and it's kind of a free hit for us to try and secure a spot in the Europa League when we take on Arsenal in the FA Cup final. But first up, we'll take on Aston Villa because we're playing 3 games today. Just going to show you guys the highlights from those, so we'll come back shortly and get stuck into that first game where hopefully we can secure some European football for next season. And here are the team sheets for this first clash today at Ashton Gate. Going into this one, there is a buttload of rotation because our players are quite tired off the back of a big recent schedule. Also wanting to make sure our big guns are available for that FA Cup final. There are Aston Villa also going with a 4-2-4, but of late not in too good a form. And there you can see just a draw from this game, enough for us to secure some European football next season. And up to the 12-minute mark, first highlight of this game so far, it's been an even one, but it is a corner here in our favour. Gutierrez takes that one short to Iliev. Now Buckley on the edge of the box, he picks out Randall, goes back there to Buckley, takes on the shot looking for that top right corner there. Had Martinez beat him, but unfortunately comes off the woodwork, so still 0-0. And right off the back of that, there is a highlight from the restart, and Martinez plays that over to Concert. To be fair, that ball was behind him a little bit, but Aston Villa doing well here at the moment to keep hold of possession. But good work there from Iliev. Nearly wins that ball back, but unfortunately doesn't quite get the job done. It goes back to Emi Martinez, and we do win that one back off the back of his clearance. And now Sarawi does get on the ball, so encouraging signs here early from us in a game which hopefully we can pick up something from. Mosquera floats this into the mixer for Iliev. Good chance, but unfortunately that header goes just wide, so still 0-0. And it's only taken a few more minutes for the next highlights. A free kick here in our favour, and Iliev will take that one short. Now Sarawi from just outside the box, decent chance that one. He was open, but unfortunately that one's just off target on the front foot, but it's still 0-0, albeit Brighton doing us a favour here by beating Arsenal. And just past the half-hour mark, our next highlight in this game, yet again, we are on the attack. So in terms of the highlights we're seeing in this game, definitely the team on the front foot, albeit Aston Villa actually more shots on target in this one so far. Gutierrez is also easing off tackles on that yellow card, thankfully still getting involved in the air and actually doing a good job for us there on a couple of occasions to keep that ball for us. Now we find Randall, nice ball over the top there for Nikola Iliev. He's had some big chances in this first half. That one also off target. That's been our letdown so far in the first half. Still 0-0. And unfortunately, that looks like all the action for the first half, just making our way into 3 minutes of added time, albeit as I say that, free kick here in our favour. Hopefully, we can go into the sheds with a 1-0 lead off the back of this, because based on the highlights that we've been seeing, definitely the team on the front foot, but unfortunately, just not hitting the target enough, in particular, Nikola Iliev. But unfortunately, this might be a chance here for Aston Villa. Can Gutierrez mark nicely before he comes off at half-time, blocks that, but somehow Diaby ends up back with it as Watkins wins that one back for Aston Villa, albeit good work there, I think, from Balumi to win that one back. And now Sarawi plays it back out to the player's name who rhymes with cheese. He takes on a shot from well outside the box. Emi Martinez has an absolute shocker, and Balumi, you have no idea how hard it's been this season to not call him Halloumi, but he scores the first goal in today's episode, and that could be one that does secure our path into European football for next season. Had a lot of work to do once he got that ball back after winning it back in the Aston Villa half, but that is some very average goalkeeping from Emi Martinez. But to be fair, we have been the team based on highlights on the front foot in this first half, so I think we'll take that and go into the second half with that 1-0 lead, albeit we are going to make a few changes here at halftime. Nikola Iliev on a 6.4. We'll probably take him off, and also Miguel Gutierrez on a yellow card. Ethan Laird can come on for him, and Good Johnson for Iliev. But so far, pretty good first half. Hopefully it will continue, and we can kick on and pick up all 3 points from this one to secure that European football. And only a couple of minutes into the second half, first highlight of it here in Aston Villa, they look to play out from the back from a goal kick. Mehdi Cash comes on at halftime. He does just get that ball, and now it is Diaby who is on it. But good tackle there from Hausner, who is surprisingly quite far up at centre-back, albeit he is playing today as a ball-playing defender. Those guys do tend to roam from their position a little bit more even in defence, and just wondering if that's something that might be worth changing going into next season to try and solidify our defence a little bit more, because goal scoring is definitely not a weak point. But Watkins will put that one away, albeit hopefully off the back of a poor pass. I think it was from Buckley. He was offside. The assistant referee's flag did go up there, and thankfully they are offside, not celebrating enough that goal to stand. So thankfully still up by 1-0, 5 minutes into the second half. And shortly off the back of that offside goal that got ruled out for Villa, we are now down the other end for a corner. Looking there for Good Johnson. Can't quite find him, but thankfully Mosquera will win that ball back for us. I expect to see a lot of him today, with Serginho Dest being suspended for our last 2 Premier League games off the back of that red card. He did pick up against Chelsea. Now Ramsey there wins that one back for Villa, and a good chance here on the counter-attack. Hausner gets caught out there by Ollie Watkins. He beats Tobias, and with their first real attacking threat in this game that we've seen in the match engine, they make it 1-1. Off the back of that, we will bring on Simon Som for Adam Randall, also Tom Bischoff for John Buckley, because those guys, I feel like, have actually been a bit poor in giving the ball away at times during these highlights that we have seen. Hopefully they can just solidify up that defensive midfield a bit more. But that's a nice ball there. Not too sure who it was from, but it does mean that Watkins can beat the offside trap by being behind the halfway line, and Aston Villa make it 1-1 with still about 40 minutes left. And now making our way up to the hour mark, and Sebastian Hausner out there is on a 6.4. In fact, now a 6.3, so we're going to take him off, and Lorenzo Parola can come on for him. That's all our subs used. But to be fair, 1-1 should be enough for us to get European football next season. And we're making our way towards the last 15 minutes of this game, and thankfully might be a chance for us here to seal all 3 points from a throw-in inside of the final third. We try and get a shot off there. It does get blocked. It then comes off the post. Not too sure who got that shot off, but unfortunately the woodwork, it does deny us yet again. It is still 1-1. Let's see how this game does play out in the latter stages. Can we pick up a win, or will we blow this? Which means we might have to beat Liverpool on the final day of the season, or at least pick up a point against them, which could be interesting because they are top of the table. Hopefully that won't be what we need to do to get some European football. And Aston Villa do have a late highlight in this game as we're about to enter however many minutes of injury time that the referees do decide in this game off the back of that Chelsea one. Who knows what they'll decide, because they decided there'd be a ton in that game, even though they said there'd be a lot less. But thankfully we do win that ball back, and it actually might be a chance for us here to do something. But unfortunately, ball over the top there, and Mehdi Cash, he does cut it out. Now Douglas Luiz plays that one forward to Watkins, and they do find Ramsey in a lot of space, and Mosquera on a yellow card, thankfully, took on the shot from well outside the box. It goes over the bar. Aston Villa certainly coming back into this game in the second half, as you can tell from that match momentum. But thankfully, it's a 1-1 draw. Did feel like a game based on our first half performance, or at least the first hour or so, that we probably should have won. But that goal back there to Ollie Watkins early in the second half did turn the tide a little bit. But thankfully, it is a draw. And I'm pretty sure that now means we are guaranteed some football in Europe for next season. It might depend how we get on in that final Premier League game against Liverpool. Exactly what football that is, as the fans apparently not too happy we didn't sub Ben Waine. It's Ben Waine. He's a hero here at Plymouth Argyle. Seriously, guys, when are you going to get it through your heads? But it does mean we are still in 5th, but only 1 point clear of Arsenal, so it might mean we need a win on the final day of the season to be in the Champions League next year. So unfortunately not quite the result we wanted from that first game. In today's episode, if we held on for a win there, it might have put the pressure on Arsenal to pick up a win on that final match day. And if we drew against Liverpool, that might have been enough for us to make our way through the Champions League. I think now we might need to win, especially because Arsenal's last game in the season off the back of this FA Cup final is away against Fulham, and they are down in 12th, so it does mean that both they and West Ham do have easier games than us on that final day of the Premier League season, but we take them on here, having lost to them both times so far this season, largely thanks to the efforts of Bukayo Saka. In fact, I tell a lie, we actually drew against them at Ashton Gate back in November, but still a team that we haven't actually beaten so far here at Plymouth Argyle. As you can see, Mikel Arteta so far has had the wood over us. Hopefully this time we can turn that around in a big game, which if we win will secure us some Europa League football for next season. Also, of course, it would be the first time that Plymouth Argyle have won the FA Cup. Let's hope we can get the job done with the Waine Train up front. And here are the team sheets for our first cup final here at Plymouth Argyle, the FA Cup. There are Arsenal. They are going with a very strong 4-3-3 and to come to this one in some good form. A little bit of rotation for us still. Cooper's the cup goalkeeper, so he will start. Also, Mosquera and Wilson Isbrand still at wingbacks because they're the players in the best form in those positions. And also Adam Randall over Simon Som, who's quite injury prone still, unfortunately, but otherwise full strength in other areas. And hopefully we can pick up our first trophy, our first big one here at Plymouth Argyle. And just past the 10-minute mark, yet again, the first highlight in this game is to Arsenal here as they try and make their way out from the back from a free kick. And Odegaard on an orange injury, poor pass there, and Wilson Isbrand can claim that. Plays it into Sarawi. We are now just outside of the box. Now Randall out there to Mosquera, bombs forward, squares this one for Good Johnson back in the team today for Nikola Ilieva's 16th of the season. And we take the lead in the FA Cup final. And if we can win this, that takes a little bit of pressure off us going to that last day of the Premier League season, because that would mean at least we've got Europa League football to look forward to, which I think we deserve at the very least from our work this season. But that is a great start. Good Johnson beats Ramsdale and puts us up 1-0, albeit there's a highlight from the restart. Cheers FM24. I have a bad feeling this might end up being a goal, but Zinchenko plays that over the top to Martinelli, who just keeps the ball in. Now Gabriel Jesus also keeps it in, plays it back to Zinchenko yet again. We tightly mark him by the look of it. Goes back to Declan Rice. Rice, baby. We try and put a tackle on him. Don't quite connect. And Martinelli does somehow get in behind. It is 1-1. Hopefully he was offside, but I don't think it was the case. Unfortunately, just too much gas there for Reece Williams. And Arsenal hit straight back immediately here at Wembley and make it 1-1. And early indications this might be a to and fro final. Unfortunately, he was well onside there, Martinelli, and they strike back immediately. Not much point in those two goals. It makes it 1-1. And not too far off the back of that equaliser to Arsenal. Now they have a corner here, which they do put into the mix. So thankfully, Wilson Isbrand, though, can clear that one. Put some pressure here on Martinelli and does win the ball back for us. Now Mosquera, who's played pretty well, in place of Serginho Dest, goes back to Cooper, but that's a poor clearance. And now Martin Odegaard does get in behind a little bit, but thankfully good block there from Reece Williams to keep that one from going in the back of the net. The highlight, though, does continue. Sarawi, loose touch on the counter-attack, and Declan Rice plays that one forward to Bukayo Saka, who has been a big thorn on our side. We've played Arsenal so far in the save. He jogs in behind our defence and does it again. His 19th of the season. 2-1 Arsenal off the back of us grabbing the lead only 10 minutes ago. And it kind of looks like we're throwing away here the FA Cup. Hopefully we can grab a goal back soon to get this back to all square. But unfortunately, Bukayo Saka there, just far too much pace for Wilson Isbrand. And also that will be Parola on that left-hand side of defence. And we're now 2-1 down. Albeit there might be a chance for us here to strike back with 10 minutes left in the first half. A throw-in right on the halfway line. Parola here does take his time on the ball. Now Reece Williams, he also takes his time before playing that one forward to Adam Randall. Now Mosquera, we're just taking our time here looking to build up despite the fact we are playing still with that high tempo. Reece Williams again on the ball to Randall. And now we go all the way back to Mike Cooper. Parola, can we start to get on the front foot? Wilson Isbrand, who so far in this highlight hasn't touched the ball. He starts to try and go forward, but doesn't get very far before playing it back to the Italian centre-back. Now Randall, nice ball forward there to Sarawi. Can he put this one away from a tight angle? Unfortunately, tries to beat Ramsdale there. And unfortunately, not a very good angle for that. As I said, he tips it over the bar. Albeit a chance for us here from a corner. And the Waine Train is on the ball. We get that one into Sarawi. Slide tackle from Bishov. Somehow that ball does fall to Declan Rice. And actually a good chance here for Arsenal to do something on the counter-attack yet again through Bukayo Saka, but thankfully someone tugs him there, keep it at 2-1, a few minutes shy of half-time. And in fact, just that highlight was about to wrap up. Now it's a throw-in here to Arsenal. Hopefully they don't make it 3-1, but Bukayo Saka absolutely burns their good Johnson. Thankfully, Wilson Esbrand nearly gets the ball back for us, albeit they do still keep it now. Havertz and Rice, they link up, and Tomiyasu's fall quite high here for Arsenal. Gets the ball back there from Gabriel, but that time good Johnson does win it back for us there. Good work from the striker who so far has scored our only goal in this game. Now Cooper plays that one forward to Randall, and he plays out to Williams. Hopefully takes a safe option here and does, picking out Mosquera down that right-hand side, goes forward to Balumi, who does quite well to pick out Bischoff in the midfield. Now Waine and a good Johnson. Nice ball forward here for Sarawi, who will beat Ramsdale in that bottom right corner. Hopefully he was onside, but that could be a big goal to make it 2-2 here right before halftime. And thankfully that one does get awarded. Good work there from the Waine Train as well. He will pick up a honky assist off the back of that ball that did go to good Johnson, and then Sarawi just on the right side of the defender and in a good position to put that one away in the bottom right corner. And hopefully that's the goal to make sure we go into halftime locked up at 2-2, which would take, off the back of those 2 goals that Arsenal did score off the back of that opener, to good Johnson, who to be fair has had a very, very good first half. Now a couple of players out there for us here are down to 6.4 ratings, so we'll probably take them off at halftime. We do have Jacob Graves on the bench as centre-back cover for Reece Williams, can also cover left-back, but today Serginho Dest is on the bench, but Graves can come play as a central defender, and also Morgan Whittaker for Balumi, who today just struggling a little bit, and hopefully we can continue the momentum from that late first half goal and hopefully go on and lift the FA Cup. And just over 5 minutes into the second half, and unfortunately our hero here might be forced from the field. Not really forced, but the Waine Train is down to a red. Hart will play things safe. Damian Pizarro has been quite good in his place at times this season when he's been injured. He can come on with still 40 minutes left. And only a few minutes later now, one of our goal scorers in Sarawi is down to a red heart, so in place of him, Facundo Farias, still one sub left. And it's taken 20 minutes, but we get our first highlight here of the second half. It's a free kick to Arsenal, and Kai Havertz has somehow out-jumped our defenders there and put that one away. It sounds like it was Bischoff, though, in that deep-lying playmaker role, and to be fair, was thinking about subbing him on a 6.5 anyway, and John Buckley does have a good partnership with him compared to Bischoff and Adam Randall. So, because of that, we'll make that last sub off the back of a goal which could prove quite crucial. 3-2 now to Arsenal with 25 minutes left. And we're now inside the last 20 minutes of this FA Cup final. Lots of goals and a chance for us here to hopefully equalise off the back of a throw, but that's a poor pass that time. Not too sure who it was from. Can't quite get my mouse on it. But now it's a chance for Arsenal to hit us on the attack, but thankfully poor pass there from Nelson, and we get that one back through Jacob Graves. Now Buckley plays that one back to Parola. It's a good time for us here, hopefully, to grab a goal back and give ourselves a chance to take this game at the very least to extra time. But that is not a good ball forward from Wilson Esbrand. Now Kai Havertz, that goal scorer from the free kick, is on the ball. Didn't expect him to score with a header, but unfortunately he did. Now Ben White forward to Odegaard. Eddie Nketiah does get in behind. He beats Mike Cooper, who is only on a 6.2. Maybe should have put Kasper Tobias in there for this game, but unfortunately our cup goalkeeper, the homegrown lad, not doing a good job. And off the back of that, now that we're 2 goals down, only around about 15 minutes and a little bit of injury time left, we will chuck our players onto attack. Also tell them to be a bit more expressive. But that could be the dagger blow, which does mean we will not be picking up the FA Cup in our 3rd season here at Plymouth Argyle. Martin Odegaard, despite the fact he is carrying that injury, is doing a very good job pulling the strings out there, despite the fact he gave away the ball for that first goal that we scored. But that's now 4-2 Arsenal with only 15 minutes left. And we're just making our way now into 6 minutes of added time. In fact, I think that might be 8, but unfortunately, does look like it's going to be too little too late, whatever we do here late in this game. Albeit there is a throw in here for us. Hopefully we can do something to potentially give ourselves a chance to take this one to extra time. And Facundo Farias, with some help from the arm of Aaron Ramsdale, will put that one away. Off the back of that, we are going to go very attacking. That gets it back to 4-3. Is there a chance for us here to take this game to extra time? If it isn't, that's still a pretty good fight we've put up against the team who have just had the wood over us so far here in the save. But unfortunately, it did not work going very attacking, and we lose our first cup final of the save here at Plymouth Argyle. 4-3 to Arsenal. and that is a little bit annoying. Unfortunately, off the back of that opening goal, that quick fire double to Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka did prove costly. We got it back to 2-2 right before half-time, but unfortunately, that free kick goal and also one off the back of that, which was scored by Eddie Nketiah, they made it 4-2 with only about 15 minutes left, and from there, too little too late despite those late efforts from Facundo Faria. So unfortunately, that makes things a bit interesting going into the final day of the season. Arsenal have the Europa League locked in. Hopefully, we can find a way to still finish above them and secure ourselves some Champions League football. Otherwise, we might end up all the way down in the Conference League. So not what we wanted from that FA Cup final in today's episode. Off the back of a great run to get there, that 5-1 win over Manchester United. It's a 4-3 loss in the final to Arsenal, but hopefully we can find a way somehow to finish above them on the Premier League table. There you can see our final game. It's at Anfield against Liverpool, who actually do need to win this game to make sure that they do lift the title. And even then, if Man City do outdo them in terms of goal differential, it might not be enough, but certainly Liverpool have something to play for on this final day of the season. There you can see Arsenal now locked in for the Europa League. I'm still pretty sure that 7th place will be enough for Europe next season because Aston Villa, they can't get past West Ham. But it's going to make things a little bit interesting, especially, as I said, with Tottenham in that Conference League final. Hopefully, we don't get overtaken by both Arsenal and West Ham. That could make things a little bit dicey potentially and put us into that dangerous territory we found ourselves in last year, where we were the only team that finished inside the top half who didn't get any European football. And there is a good chance of that as well, because as you saw before the FA Cup final, Arsenal, they take on a Fulham team they probably should be beating, and also West Ham, they take on Sunderland just outside of the relegation zone, a team who could actually fall into that if Leicester can pick up a win over Manchester United. So we really are in a bit of danger here, especially if we don't pick up a result against Liverpool, which you would expect with these guys needing to win and also stay above Manchester City's goal differential as they take on Newcastle at St James. So to be fair, it might be Liverpool here who are the favourites to pick up the title, but hopefully we'll come back shortly and make sure we can get some form of European football for next season and don't get screwed out of it because we didn't win that FA Cup final. And here are the team sheets for this final game of the season. There are Liverpool in some pretty good form. They have really struggled in the second half of the season off the back of a flyer in the first half, but they are playing a strong 4-3-3. There we are mixing our form quite a bit, but back for this game, Simon Son, who we probably actually should have started in that FA Cup final. Also Tobias, also a player we potentially could have started because Mike Cooper got a 5.8, but hopefully this is a team that can do enough for us to maybe make the Champions League or at least the Europa League. Otherwise, we might end up in the Conference League, and that would not be very nice indeed. That does feel like a competition which would be a bit harsh on that if it's this season. Early highlight though for Liverpool, they take a corner to the edge of the box and Luis Diaz does put that one away. Of course, they do need to win this game to secure the title, and it looks like that might be exactly what they're going to do based on that first highlight. Unfortunately, somehow no one picks up Luis Diaz in time. He beats Tobias. It's a dreadful start. We go 1-0 down early at Anfield. Albeit hopefully a chance for us here from a free kick 10 minutes later to try and get back into this game. We play that one forward and now Mosquera is on the ball. Plays that one forward to Balumi, who does get in behind. Now the Waine Train plays that over to Sarawi. Just gets in behind Trent Alexander-Arnold there, but unfortunately that shot just off target. Alisson Becker would not have reached it. Now down the other end, Luis Diaz there is looking for a double. Thankfully that time Tobias does come up with a good save. We encourage this corner is still going to take place. Of course, Liverpool scored their first goal from a corner this time. They go far post, and Virgil van Dijk wins that one in the air. He puts it away. That's 2-0. And at Anfield, this will be a very, very tough task for us now to get something out of this game. Not too sure why we're waiting so long to see the replay from that goal, but apparently we are, as Tobias takes his time to pick up the ball. No replay, but we're 2-0 down. And just going past the half-hour mark in this game, thankfully Arsenal at the moment still behind us because they're drawing off Fulham, albeit as I say that, they pick up a goal, but also Sunderland are beating West Ham, so at the very least, we should be getting at the moment Europa League football for next season as Liverpool do continue with the attack. I think that was Szoboszlai there with a chance, but thankfully it just goes wide, but we are still 2-0 down. But now Liverpool look to build from the back. Becker pumps that one deep. Thankfully, good header one there from Wilson Esperand. Now the Waine Train is on the ball, just jinks backwards before playing that to the low knee from Man City, who really should be wanting to win this game. And I think he's picked up an assist there, setting up Good Johnson for his first goal in this game off the back of an impressive performance in the FA Cup final, as well, of course, as that hat-trick in the semi. Our players are celebrating. Is this a chance for us to get back in this game just before half-time? Hopefully this time we can finish off better than we did in that FA Cup final, but Wilson Esperand fizzes that one into the mixer. Thankfully, Good Johnson just between those two defenders and puts that one away and gives us some hope by making it 2-1. And it looks like that'll be it for the first half. Sunderland now beating West Ham by 2-0. So at the moment, we are in 6th place on the Premier League table. If we can come back and win this game, that should be Champions League football for next season, but thankfully looks like Europa League at the very worst. We're going to take off here Mosquera on a yellow card for Ethan Lead, and also Facundo Farias can come on for Sarawi on a 6.4, but those will be our two changes going into the second half, where there is a highlight from the restart. Hopefully Liverpool don't grab a goal back early, because that might be a dagger blow like it was in that Arsenal game off the back of a late goal in the first half that we did score. Soboslai plays that one forward to Darwizi Núñez, who puts it away, albeit I'm pretty confident in saying I think he was offside. Hopefully that was the case. Otherwise, this will be very, very tough for us to try and get Champions League football for next season, but thankfully he was indeed offside. Did look like that was a pretty clear cut one, well in behind our defence here, albeit Wilson Esperand there nearly kept him onside, but thankfully he was off, and we're still only 2-1 behind. And shortly off the back of that offside goal to Darwizi, it is now a free kick here in our favour. Hopefully we can grab another one back to make things quite interesting and try and get in the Champions League next season. Now the Waine Train picks out Farias, who is off the bench, plays that to Bischoff. Nice square there for Simon Som. There's a bit of Som from Simon Som. I've been waiting to say that all season, and that is a big goal from our defensive midfielder there, who so far has sat out the first two games of today's episode and makes it 2-2, and maybe a chance for us here to actually pick up that win, which we do now need to get into the Champions League for next season. Good bit of work there from us, and Bischoff gets the assist. Simon Sommer puts that one away to make it 2-2, and off the back of that, another highlight here, and it's a throw-in yet again, but unfortunately can't quite link up down that left-hand side, albeit the Waine Train takes that one off of Florian Wirtz, but then Facundo Farias loose touch, and Trent can pick that one up, so Liverpool get a chance here on the counter-attack, but thankfully Ethan Laird puts some good pressure there on Luis Diaz, who so far has been very good, and he'll get a chance here to get us back on the attack. Will the replacement right back makes his way forward, gets tugged down there from Koopmeiners very cynically. Now Balumi starts to cut inside, will take on a shot, it's well off target. We'll just see here though how bad this injury is.
Yeah.
And it's a rigor red one, so because of that, we are going to be forced into a save, albeit I don't think we have any right back cover on the bench. This could be a bit of a dagger blow to our hopes in this game. I think Jacob Graves is probably the best option, albeit only half-star, and Wilson Esperand's not too much better. I do actually remember John Buckley might have come on in the past and played right back, and indeed, he's actually rated as a 2-star player at right back. We'll just make sure that he is the best option. We'll just compare him to both Randall and to Morgan Whittaker. But it looks like John Buckley will be the replacement there for the injured Ethan Laird. Still 2-2 with around about 35 minutes left. And shortly off the back of that substitution, yet another throw in here in our favour. Starting to get a few highlights in the second half. Nice ball out there to Balumi down that right-hand side inside the final third. He plays one far post there for Good Johnson. Heads it down for Facundo Farias. Only his 4th goal this season, because just like the Waine Train, he's been heavily affected by injuries, especially in the second half, but that could be a huge goal, and it might be one that gives us Champions League football for next season. Also, it might deny Liverpool the Premier League title. Good Johnson, he picks up an assist. He's been really good for us here this season at Plymouth Argyle, but with that goal, I'm pretty sure we would go back up to 5th as we go 3-2 in front. And just about to make our way into the last 20 minutes of this game, and a couple of players have gone down. 2 red hearts. Tom Bischoff's one, but playing very well on a 7.8. The other is Balumi, not quite doing so well, so Morgan Whittaker can come on for him. I think we'll save up that last sub just in case, but we are still in front 3-2 with only 20 minutes left. And in fact, very shortly off the back of that previous sub, we're going to make our last one now. The Waine Train is going really well, but to be fair, other players out there doing better, so Damien Pizarro can come on for him and hopefully help us seal this one. And about to make our way into the last 10 minutes of this game. There is a highlight here as Liverpool do look to play out from the back. Hopefully we can hold on here, and then there's a loose touch from Salah, and Wilson Esperand will get that one back. Of course, he has some big interest in this game with Man City having a chance to lift the title. It finds its way forward to Pizarro, who came off the bench for the Waine Train, but unfortunately do think the assistant referee's flag did go up. We'll just make sure that was the case, and unfortunately he was offside, so it does stay 3-2. But we're probably not far away now from starting to time waste here to hopefully make sure we get Champions League football for next season. As Arsenal 2-0 up over Fulham, it does mean Liverpool score an equaliser. We will drop back down into the Europa League, which, to be fair, probably not the worst competition for us actually, but we'd like to make our way into the Champions League. Chance there for Liverpool, but thankfully Tobias comes out to get that ball before Darwizzy Nunez does, but he takes his time on the ball. We will probably start time wasting off the back of this highlight, and Pizarro heads that one forward nicely for Morgan Whittaker, plays that one out to Wilson Esperand, and lots of space. Bischoff back out to the City loanee, as I said, should have lots of interest in the result of this game as well as his parent club as they take on Newcastle from St James's Park, albeit I haven't seen any updates on that game, so it might be 0-0, so Liverpool might be okay here, but Darwin Nunez does get in behind. Big chance here, but Reece Williams, the former Liverpool man, lots of stuff going on in this game. He gets a good block on and puts it out for a corner. Szoboszlai takes that one out to McAllister on the edge of the box, same position Luis Diaz was in earlier in this game. Thankfully, we pressed them nicely, and Joe Gomez on the ball does mean that highlight stops. Now it's time for us to start time wasting and hopefully hold on and qualify for the Champions League. And now inside the last 5 minutes of this game, as Liverpool have been completely dominant but somehow find themselves 3-2 behind Arsenal, now 3-0 in front. So we definitely need to hold on here. Hopefully nothing silly in these last 7 minutes of additional time. We keep the ball through Simon Son, one of the goal scorers today. Now Williams plays that one across to Lorenzo Parola. Now Bischoff, he is on the ball up to Good Johnson, having a very good game, but that is a poor time for a poor pass, albeit Salah also with a shocker, and Wilson Esperand can recover it. Now Whittaker plays that one forward to Pizarro, gets a shot off Becker with a big save, albeit he was offside, and now will time waste frequently, and also might just chuck here Tom Bischoff onto defend as well off the back of that just before this next highlight does start, or hopefully no more highlights. That might be something actually that could help us defensively next season, but thankfully doesn't look like Liverpool will get any more highlights. It's a 3-2 win to us, and despite that and what I saw before, it looked like Man City were top of the Premier League, but it's not the case. Liverpool, they will pick up the Prem, which means something interesting must have happened late there at St James's Park. But Liverpool, despite losing to us, they get a happy ending. They are the Premier League champions again, and we will finish in 5th place, which I'm pretty sure, because of the coefficient, should see us qualify for the Champions League next season. And there is the confirmation that despite the fact that we did beat Liverpool on that final day, they have lifted the Premier League trophy. At the moment, it says that's enough for the Europa League, but still, I think that might change before we do get through to the end of season review, unless some funny stuff does happen with other teams winning in European competitions. Then we do get 30.9 million for our 5th place finish, so it does mean that we have improved on our 8th place finish last season. Good Johnson in very good form in that game. Just going up a little bit further in Liverpool, they were crowned the champions as Newcastle grabbed a goal very late. That must have been to deny Manchester City the title, and they came back from 1-0 down as well. City, they blow the title late, but I think that 5th place finish should be enough for us to get Champions League football. We'll come back shortly and confirm that, as well as doing the end of season review and revealing that transfer budget. And going forward a few clicks, still waiting to see if that 5th place finish will be enough for us to get Champions League football for next season. But even if it isn't the case, we've got £80 million to spend, which is a whole lot of money. This could be a fun transfer window coming up to recap at the start of next week. And even if we don't make the Champions League, that should see us be a very, very strong contender in the Europa League. Might be a chance for us to pick up a European trophy, but that is a whole lot of money to spend come the start of next week. And we are still waiting to see if that 5th place finish is enough for us to get Champions League football for next season. But while we do wait, here is the end of season review for our 3rd season of the Waine Train here with Plymouth Argyle. We are 2nd one up in the Premier League. We made quite a few signings going into this season, but the best one was the player who was supposed to be the backup to Ben Waine, but unfortunately, because he had so many injuries this season, he actually did play quite a bit of football in Damien Pizarro, but he picks up player of the season, 21 appearances, 19 off the bench, 14 goals, and 5 assists. Didn't actually have the highest average rating. That did go to Sarawi, and also Josh Wilson-Esperant, who was only here, I think, for the second half of the season, or at least once we did get rid of Libby, which I actually think might have been a bit earlier, but still, he was very good, especially once he got some consistent game time in the latter half of the season when he was performing better than Miguel Gutierrez. Also performing well when we used him was Alano Bando, very promising striker, and Mosquera. He definitely came in January, quite a good right-back option in place of Kane Kessler-Hayden. Also playing decently was Parola, Tobias, Balumi, Som, as well as Des. To be fair, the worst signing apparently was Miguel Gutierrez with a 6.83 average rating, which is not ideal when we spend about 20 million on him. That's not great, but most of our transfer business did help us improve our position in the Premier League this season. The transfers out, there were a lot of them. The most interesting in the end happened in January in Luis Jr. for 50 million. That did help us improve our squad quite a bit. In that window, also leaving us was Ian Poveda for, at that stage, a club record fee, but then also going into January, Callum Wright made his way to Saudi Arabia as well. Also leaving us was Kakache, and also we will find him, Rafael Mamas. They both left because of ESC issues, and as well as that, we got rid of Kane Kessler-Hayden and the likes of Ryan Hardy, Daniel Phillips, Bully Mumberson, players who were very good for us in our first season in the Championship. But most of our transfer business, they were players who weren't really going to cut it for us in the Premier this season, especially when we do get into Europe next season and going forward to the season results. In fact, a couple of loanees out as well who are worth looking at, in particular Nestri Irankunda. We could use him next season. He's just improved a little bit, albeit might be worth loaning him out yet again. Might be a player who, when you guys get the save file, might be a fun time indeed. But going forward to the season results, 5th in the Premier League, we didn't lose that many games in a row at any stage, which was quite nice going with that 4-2-4, which we switched to late last season. It did work for the most part. Had a funny patch in and around that FA Cup semi. That was a bit of an issue, but apart from that, we did play fairly well throughout the rest of the season, picked up a lot more wins than last season, and also turned quite a few draws into wins as well. So it did mean we improved quite a bit on our points tally from last season, which I think was 58. We got 70, and that was enough for us to just finish above Arsenal on 69. So we finished above them despite the fact they beat us in the FA Cup final, which was a bit heartbreaking. 4-3. It was a close run thing, especially off the back of a 5-1 win in the semis over Man United. Unfortunately, couldn't quite keep things as tight at the back. In the final in the Carabao Cup, unfortunately, got knocked out in the 4th round by Tottenham Hotspur. But overall, that was a pretty good season. Definitely our best one so far, but to be fair, only had 2 in the Premier League. Going forward to the moments to remember, unsurprisingly, the biggest win, 5-1 over United in the FA Cup semi. Kind of surprisingly though, that's not the match to remember. Apparently, that was a 4-0 win over Fulham, where they did score 2 own goals. Yeah, not sure about that one. And the goal of the season, actually, this finished 3rd in the overall goal of the season in the Premier League. It was Balumi in that recent 5-1 win over Brentford. And I believe it was this one in the 90th minute. He also scored one in the 95th, but I believe this is a timestamp for the goal of the season. We might just check the other one just as well, though, because that one didn't look like it was too great. So we might just check this one that was scored a little bit later, which was assisted by Adam Randall. And this time it is Dest who was on the ball before, of course, he gets sent off in the Chelsea game, which did mean that was his season over. I think that one might actually be the goal that did win goal of the season, even though back in the awards it did say it was the one that was scored at the 90-minute mark. I think it was, because about 22 metres, that looked a bit more like that last goal than the one before. The fact he scored 2 goals late there might be confusing things, but Balumi, either way, he picked up goal of the season. Going forward to finances, this is pretty good. Somehow broadcast revenue has gone down, but more importantly, the Waine Train, the top shirt seller. That's about fair because this thing's just arrived as well. And going forward to how we lined up, somehow Ben Waine's not there, but to be fair, he was quite injury prone this season. That might have affected things, but for the most part, that is the team we put out throughout the season. The one change that potentially could have happened is that, of course, Parola did come in late. I think next season he might be in there over someone like Jacob Graves, and also, of course, won't be Luis Jr. because he decided to be a sook once Saudi Arabia came knocking and offered him a massive wage. He started to put in some poor performances when we did drop points in and around January. And going forward to the accolades, we picked up Manager of the Month for August. Unfortunately, Jurgen Klopp picked up Manager of the Year here in the Premier League, despite the fact I thought we would have had a decent shot at that considering we finished 5th with Plymouth Argyle. But the club awards, Sarawi was Player of the Season. As I said, I thought he was our best one consistently throughout this season, albeit Good Johnson, a better average rating. He gets Young Player of the Season. To be fair, he was very good when he did get in over Nicola Iliev at times throughout the season. Signing of the season you saw earlier, as well as some of these other ones. The top goal scorer, Good Johnson, with 17. Most assists, though, was Sarawi with 19, with his goal contribution as well. That's probably why he's picked up that overall Player of the Season. Good Johnson, most man of the matches with 7. Highest average rating as well was Good Johnson. And going over to the competition awards, Ben Waine, despite all those injuries, still picked up the Oceania Footballer of the Year for last year, which in game I think is 2025. And as well as that, Nicola Iliev, he picked up the Premier League Young Player of the Year and also most man of the matches in the season. It was Good Johnson. The other ones, not too important, albeit the highest transfer fee paid was Parola. And I thought there should also be highest transfer fee received for Luis Jr. of 50 million. And going forward, Plymouth apparently got off to a good start. Not sure if that's entirely true, but we definitely were up near the top for most of the season. Thankfully, didn't fall down too much. And I think we're still going to get Champions League football for next season, but still waiting for that to be confirmed. We'll wait for that before we do wrap up today's episode. And there's the stuff that did happen this season. As you can see, lots of stuff in terms of transfer income. Also, we did pick up a late win over West Ham in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup yesterday. Also, a new record for goals in an FA Cup season, but unfortunately not quite enough for us to pick up that competition. And going back just a little bit, and yet again a lot of this stuff is in terms of what we've paid for transfers, but as well as that, they have mentioned we picked up a win in our 100th game of management over Sunderland, and also that big comeback, which we didn't show you guys on camera, but we did pick it up 5-3 against Crystal Palace after being 3-0 down at halftime. So a couple of interesting things there in the end of season review. And going down to the overall best 11, this is where things get a little bit sad, because the Waine Train has been knocked out of the overall best 11 by Good Johnson, who, to be fair, was very good this season, but still kind of feels like Waino's been affected there by those injuries. He did carry this season, but there's our overall best 11 for the same so far. And on the bench as well, Osama Sarawi makes his way onto that after only one season, but that is a bit of a sad note off the back of the end of season review. The Waine Train no longer in the starting 11. Hopefully we can fix that one going into next season. And to end today's episode, thankfully, as I did expect with that 5th place finish considering the coefficient, we are not in the Europa League as was listed in the end of season review, as well as off the back of that final game of the season. We are instead in the Champions League, straight in at the league phase. Going to be a fun time, albeit a little bit not sure about that. Actually, thought our chances might have been better winning the Europa League, but still we get that Arsenal there in the Europa League, which is kind of funny off the back of that FA Cup final. But that will do it for this 3rd season of the Waine Train. Unfortunately, he was injured for quite a large chunk of it, but hopefully he'll be available for much more football next season. There you can see only 4 goals in the Premier League, albeit 7 overall. Hopefully does a bit better next season and can stay a little bit fitter. But if you enjoyed this season of the Waine Train, we've got Champions League football now to look forward to for season 4. Then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. We'll come back at the start of next week and let you guys know how we do spend that £80 million. And also, we should probably play as well our first game of the season. Unfortunately, won't be the Community Shield like it looked like for a little bit, but it'll be the first game in the Premier League. So we'll come back next week for transfers and that. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.